In this series of videos, we will read the Care Certificate workbooks, both what you need to know and what do you know now. This video covers Standard 4, Equality and Diversity, what do you know now? And it's over to my colleague to read through this workbook.
The Care Certificate, Equality and Diversity, what do you now know? Standard 4, the Care Certificate Workbook. Activity 4.1a. Complete the table below to explain the key terminology in your own words. Explain. To explain something, you will need to provide a clear account of your understanding, including details like why and how. These terms are diversity, equality, inclusion, and discrimination. Activity 4.1b. Discrimination may happen deliberately or by mistake within social care or healthcare settings. For each examples below, describe the discrimination that is happening, including whether it is deliberate or by mistake. Describe. To describe means to create a picture with words, but not simply writing a list of bullet points. Example 1. A community group organises activities in a village hall that does not have access that is suitable for individuals who are wheelchair users. Example 2. In a hospital, a volunteer gives smaller portions of food to women than men because they believe that men have bigger appetites. Example 3. A care home has a policy that limits the kitchen hours from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. A new resident observes Ramadan, meaning they can only eat before sunrise and after sunset. As a result of the kitchen policy, they are not able to eat proper meals for the month of Ramadan. Example 4. A home care worker stays longer at home with an individual than they should because they are fond of the individual, which means that the next person has less time for their care and support. Activity 4.1c. There are a number of ways that can help reduce the likelihood of discrimination happening within the workplace. Explain how practices that support equality and diversity, such as working in a person-centered way, can help to reduce discrimination in the workplace. Explain. To explain something, you will need to provide a clear account of your understanding, including details like why and how. Working in a person-centered way can help reduce the likelihood of discrimination. Activity 4.2a. On the diagram below, identify which legislation and codes of practice or conduct relating to equality, diversity, and discrimination apply to you as a care worker. Identify, point out, highlight, or note down the main answers or examples that relate to this subject. Legislation and codes of practice relating to equality, diversity, and discrimination. If you look back at the previous video or within the booklet of what you need to know, you'll be able to find a list of some examples. Activity 4.2c. Reflect on the two examples of discriminatory practice below. For each example, describe how you could address the discriminatory practice in order to encourage a positive change. Describe. To describe means to create a picture with words, but not simply writing a list of bullet points. An individual you are supporting is unable to reach the counter at the checkout to pay for their shopping. You notice a colleague continuously refuses to support or treat an individual, and they have said it's because of the individual's sexual orientation. Activity 4.3a. On the diagram below, identify a range of sources of information, advice, and support about diversity, equality, and inclusion. Identify, point out, highlight, or note down the main answers or examples that relate to the subject. Sources of information, advice, and support about diversity, equality, and inclusion include. If you look back at the previous video or the booklet of Standard 4, What You Need to Know, you'll be able to find some examples to help you answer this question. Activity 4.3b and c. Situations where you may need additional information, advice, and support. Fill in the table below to demonstrate how you'd find additional information, advice, and support about diversity, equality, and inclusion. One example situation has been done for you. For the second example, think of a situation that can happen in your own work. The example given, you realise that your knowledge of dementia could be improved in order to support an individual's specific communication needs. When would you access the information, advice, and support? How would you access information, advice, and support? Whom would you ask for advice and support in relation to this, and why?
Well done on completing the What You Need to Know booklet. We have the next standard in this playlist to support your learning through the full 15 standards.